It's the last Tuesday for August 2022, and the next 22 days will be the last you'll be feeling of this year's summer sun. We'll be reeling in a new season, autumn, which promises to bring new temperatures, new fruits and new opportunities. Also on the line and just ahead of autumn, bobbing its head is the new school term, and preparations are abuzz. There's much to look forward to, and Jamaica Magazine will be there with you. I'm your host, Adrian Atkinson, and here's how we get started with today's show.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, August 30, 2022. Jamaica has taken a bold move to improve its trade relations with Trinidad and Tobago by signing a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, on Monday. It was signed in Trinidad and Tobago, where Prime Minister Andrew Holness is now a special guest for the Twin Islands' 60th anniversary celebration as an independent nation. The cooperation will result in the establishment of a trade complaints mechanism to provide companies in both countries with transparent and predictable means to address export difficulties. It will also seek to address long-standing issues such as requests for the removal of non-tariff barriers and bureaucratic obstacles.
Having a greater understanding, developing greater trust, building a partnership can help to unlock some of the institutional barriers to trade, travel, commerce, and finance. And so this is what this is about. And so it is important that there is strong relationship government to government regionally.
Meanwhile, the Twin Islands Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, says trade relations today between both countries has significantly improved from 6 years ago.
What turned out to be bureaucratic obstructions to trade were being mishandled, and the Jamaicans were annoyed that we were not responding to their complaints. We were dealing with something that was soluble, and since then, our trade relationships have continued to grow and improve.
Following this MOU, Jamaica will be working with private sector organizations to sensitize individuals and companies about the new and improved processes to address concerns. Both countries are also fast-tracking measures that will allow for a registered company in Trinidad to be recognized as such in Jamaica and vice versa. They are also partnering on the movement of skilled labor in CARICOM in a structured way through legislation and implementation. Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago are also committing to deepen cooperation through CARICOM on efforts to tackle crime and inflow of illegal firearms in the region.
Whilst we won't say too much on what we're going to be doing, but certainly along the lines of collaboration and sharing information, we will be able to have an impact. But from a political standpoint, especially geopolitically, we need to amplify our voice regarding the flow of small arms and light weapons into our region.
Among the other areas of bilateral partnerships are sport, music, and culture. In sports, athletes at the secondary level in Trinidad will be invited to participate in Jamaica's flagship Boys and Girls Championships. As for culture, Jamaica will have an exchange of training in carnival and other costume designs, among other things. During his trip to Trinidad and Tobago, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has also engaged with members of the Jamaican diaspora at a town hall meeting. Discussions ranged from agriculture, national security, social dislocation and solutions to issues affecting the region. On the matter of climate change and environmental protection, Mr. Holness informed the diaspora that prior to arriving in Trinidad, he signed off on a cabinet submission to protect the Pedro Keys.
And so we are doing we are making what is called our national determined contributions to the reduction of carbon output in line with the 1.5% increase goal, 1.5% Celsius goal.
Other areas that are protected include the Cockpit Country and the Black River Morass. In news back home, 2 breakaways in southwestern St. Anne will be given attention following a tour of the Borough Bridge Division by local government minister Desmond McKenzie. Assessment of the roadways in Cascade and Frank Hall, along with other areas, was done over the weekend. Minister McKenzie says instructions have been given to the chief technical officer in the ministry to submit a costing proposal so that the funds can be made available.
Those 2 breakaways are something which have a real concern and pose real danger to life and property. So Councillor Brown giving the assurance that we will move expeditiously to have it repaired.
Meanwhile, the Alexandria market has been earmarked for renovation.
As soon as the necessary assessment has been completed and the estimates are presented, then we will move to ensure that we renovate the market and to make some additions and provide parking, because as you can see, the town of Alexandria is very congested.
The Public Procurement Commission, PPC, has achieved ISO 9001-2015 certification. It is the 24th public entity in Jamaica to earn the quality standard. Speaking at the recent awards ceremony, Industry State Minister Dr. Norman Dunn said this would bring efficiency to the country's public procurement process.
I mean, the resources are never infinite, they're finite, and therefore how we allocate those resources is important. And the choices of contractors to conduct their business of the people is of paramount importance. Money drives commerce, and its distribution must be transparent and efficient.
According to Minister Dunn, the pursuit and attainment of the ISO certification is a clear indication of the PPC's will to operate at a high level and ensure the machinery of business flows smoothly. And finally, more than 2,000 government pensioners will benefit from an island-wide mobile life certificate collection drive by the Accountant General's Department, AGD. A life certificate is an official document used by the AGD to verify the living status of a pensioner and confirm eligibility for payment from the government. Pensioners will be able to submit, collect, and certify their life certificate while receiving customer support from the mobile unit. A valid government-issued identification card is required to receive assistance. The first leg of the tour will begin on September 5 with a visit to 11 of the 14 parishes. Location stops will include parish libraries, and the schedule will be advertised in the media. The drive will also allow non-beneficiaries to collect certificates on behalf of shut-ins or persons who are unable to attend in person on the day.
So if they want to query the status of a payment, they can come out and they will get the assistance. If they just want to interact, get some information, we're there in the parishes to provide this.
This is the 5th staging of the AGD's Mobile Life Certificate Drive. The next leg is scheduled to start in December. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Civil servants are the heart of the public sector. Their interests and efforts are key determinants to its effectiveness. In this next presentation, we meet an educator whose name echoes in several spheres for her continued contribution to educational development in Jamaica.
Hey, good morning.
Hi, Dr. Chu, how are you doing?
I am fine, thank you.
I see that you're fine. I see that you're
I
fine.
am headed out though.
I see that. Well, we'll head out with you.
Okay.
So you can get ready, and we definitely will just be having a quick chat.
All right,
So
so
you
give
can-
me a minute. I'll go and get my stuff.
You know what happened? I'll be following you.
All right, no problem.
I'll come with you. Dr. Chu, I know that everybody starts their day in a particular way.
Yes.
What would you say are your morning rituals, the things that you must do?
I'm an early bird. I get up early every morning. By 5 o'clock I am up and I listen to my morning inspiration. So I turn on my phone to Nationwide and get the morning spiritual inspiration. And then most times, not all the times, I go jogging with my husband to get my exercise in.
Tell us, what do you do?
Education is really about life, living. And my task really is to ensure we operate a smooth, effective education system that will enable our boys and girls to be their best selves. I have the best job in the world, but the most difficult.
Tell me the most difficult decision you've had to make this week. And you could probably share what the decision was.
Wow, I make tough decisions every day, especially when it comes on to resources, making the best use of resources for our country. Now, just yesterday, we have been meeting with the World Bank because we're looking at an education mission. And we have to decide on how to utilize the limited resources to treat with some capacity building for our teachers. Now, you know that the education system cannot surpass the quality of its teachers, but we have teachers in service and we have teachers who are considered pre-service. Now, I've had to make the decision with respect to who gets the resources. Do we improve the teachers who are being trained, or do we treat with those teachers who are currently in service? Now, that was most difficult because both categories of teachers are important to the transformation.
Dr. Chu, there are different things that inspire individuals. Who or what has inspired you lately?
You know, I'm really inspired by those with whom I work with and those that I serve. When the students do well in their areas of talent, when I watch the Boys and Girls Championship, when I watch the scholarship ceremonies, when I watch the students in their dance form and their art forms, that really and truly inspires me.
What is Dr. Chu's legacy in the public sector? What would that be? What does that sound like? What does that look like?
Wow, that's a big one. Really, what I would love to know at the end of my tenure as a leader, that all our educational institutions are performing above satisfactory. Now, that's a difficult task, but it is not impossible. Right now, I have 243 schools that are deemed unsatisfactory, and I am committed to seeing those schools move to satisfactory and then take them to good and excellent. That's the legacy I want to leave, because that means students are getting the best education program possible and getting the opportunity to become the best persons that they can be.
I'm sure with the demands of your job, you travel different places, you go different places. What's the most interesting place that your job has taken you to?
You know, I've been to China and I've looked at their education system as part of a study tour. And what was most impressive for me is the discipline of the students. Now, I got a chance to see the teachers moving away from the classroom into a planning session, and the students moved into self-directed learning. I'm really hoping for the day that we can see that happening in Jamaica, where our students can take self-directed learning to another level. That is going to be very, very important to maximizing and learning time and extending the learning support that our boys and girls need to become their best selves. So that's something that I found interesting, and I'm moving for that to be a part of Jamaica's education system.
Can you say anything in Chinese?
Xie xie. It means thank you. I learned that. That's the only thing I could say over there.
Recommend one book that you'd want everyone to read.
Well, you know, when I got the opportunity to lead the sector at this level, I figured I needed to improve in my leadership. So John C. Maxwell is one of my favorites. And so How to Lead Successfully, the 5 Levels of Leadership, that's a book that I'm reading. Now, to be honest with you, I don't get the chance to do it as much as I want, but I get to put in a few pages each night to examine my own style of leadership and how I can become better. Because to move this system is not about your positional power. It's really about the influence and how persons believe in your capacity to deliver and what that does for them. That's very important, and that's part of the levels of leadership that I'm taking myself on, and I will recommend that as a good book for any leader, because the truth is everything falls and rises on leadership.
Dr. Troop, this is where we say, have a great day, and as you learned, share.
Thank you too, and I'm late for my meeting. Bye.
Imagine having the freedom to get yourself to where you want to go, when you want to go, and with whomever you want, really. Well, achieving that freedom could very well start with acquiring a provisional or learner's driver's license. And the steps to getting there? Pretty simple. A provisional driver's license permits an unlicensed individual to operate a motor vehicle on the public roads while under the supervision of a licensed driver. Persons can obtain their learner's permit from as early as age 17.
In order to acquire a provisional driver's license, you're going to need to have 3 passport-size pictures that are signed by a JP, right? So you need all. You will need to fill out that application for a provisional driver's license form that must be filled out. Also, you need to show proof of identification, whether it's national ID, passport. If you don't have any of those, birth certificate.
So after you've presented all those documents, it's now time to do the road code test.
The road code test is free. There is no charge. It is easy. Once you have passed, a sealed document will be sent to the tax office. It must not be opened at all. If you open it, you will be tampering with it, and that would cause problems.
But in previous years, doing a road code test was never a requirement in getting your provisional driver's license. So why now?
We want to ensure, that our road safety operations are in alignment with the Great Road Safety Nation and in accordance with United Nations road safety postulates, right? So we have signed on to UN road safety protocols. So we are ensuring that all our operations are in alignment with best practices, and also to ensure that at every step of the way, our population who are learning to drive are empowered.
So let's say you've passed your road code test. There's just one more step or stop to be made before you're handed your provisional driver's license.
Once you pass the free road code test, then you will head to the tax office and you will pay $1,800 for that provisional driver's license. Now, no fees are to be paid at any examination depot, and then you are on the quest to learn to drive. Now, you must ensure that that vehicle that you are operating, right, have the L both at the front and at the back. And the L must have a white background with a red L.
While it's fairly simple, the Island Traffic Authority has put provisions in place for those who may fail the road code test.
Remember now, we have a scheduling system, right? So persons are scheduled, and it depends on whether or not space is available. But oftentimes we try to facilitate as best as possible based on the schedule, right? So it's very important for persons to understand that in order to schedule your road code test, you can send an email to dita@mtw.gov.jm or driver's license @mtw.gov.jm, right? Send an email that you want to do your road code test, and with supernatural speed, you will get a response. I assure you, you'll get a response in less than 24 hours. For example, you have a driver's license to operate a motor car, and you want to operate a truck, right? Learn to drive a truck. You do not need to come and get a provisional driver's license. Go back to the process again. Since you already have a driver's license to operate a car. What you need to do now, put the L on the truck, the front and the back. So your driver's license now serves as a provisional driver's license, right? So because you'd have already gone through that step already. So, and just in case you also want to operate a motorcycle, you would then ensure the L is on the vehicle, both at the front and at the back, and then that driver's license you use as the provisional driver's license.
And just like that, you are now the holder of your very own provisional driver's license.
In just a few days, our streets will be colored with newness and enthusiasm as students and teachers start the new academic year. Projects implemented by the Jamaica Social Investment Fund will be providing safe passage for these students and others to get to and from school.
Extracurricular activities or clubs have always been a nicely added dynamic to our education system, structured on the idea of creating well-rounded portfolios, personal development, meeting more and diverse peers, and improving communication skills for students. Now, with innovation and a goal for creating more focused road users, the Jamaica Social Investment Fund is revolutionizing the idea of school clubs. JSIF is creating a first of its kind for us here in Jamaica. JSIF has teamed up with the Ministry of Education and Youth, the Ministry of Transport's Road Safety Unit, municipal corporations, the Community Development Committee, and the Jamaica Constabulary Force's Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch to form the Safe Passage Safe Routes to School Road Safety Clubs. It's about to make traveling for children much safer through public education.
I'm pleased that this social network was formed as a follow-up to a prior Safe Passages project, which aims to provide a safe environment for students as they traverse specific roadways and thoroughfares in the vicinity of selected school campuses. It was designed, among other things, to provide a safe environment for students as they travel to and from school in certain targeted communities.
The Road Safety Club is an important software, I will call it. So beyond the hardware, the road safety clubs are designed to provide the sustainability to the infrastructure that has been provided. And it works by increasing the capacity of the teachers, parents, the awareness of the members of the JCF, and other persons who are in charge of keeping the roads safe.
The infrastructure that was provided under government's $155 million Integrated Community Development Safe Passages project contains several components that make it easier for children to navigate the streets.
The Safe Passages project contains several components, including the rehabilitation or construction of infrastructure such as sidewalks, bus bays, guardrails, painting of murals, installation of road safety signs, as well as the implementation of comprehensive public education and road safety program that will engage school staff, students, and residents from the beneficiary communities. And finally, to ensure that this is sustained, the formation of the road safety clubs, which we are launching in a very special and significant way today.
The clubs are being set up in an initial 7 primary and infant schools across the country, namely Augustown, Bickersteth, Greenwich Primary, Hope Valley Experimental, Roehampton, Salt Spring, and Treadlight. At the core is the support from those monitoring traffic on our roadways daily.
The Jamaica Constabulary Force have had a long history of working together with schools and children in terms of educating and of course providing information in terms of how best we can take care of ourselves, that especially the children that have to traverse the various roadways. This particular program, which is the Safe Passage Road Safety Club program that has been launched by JSAFE. The JSAFE lauds the effort because what we believe is that a kind of holistic approach to safety of our children and of course the entire commuting public, it will make a big difference.
But what really sparked the development of this new initiative?
In terms of global statistics, too many of our children are suffering from fatally or other injuries. Many of these injuries and deaths occur in low and middle income countries, such as Jamaica. Furthermore, a large proportion of this figure is made up of children, particularly child pedestrians. Statistics from the Road Safety Unit reveal that in 2021, 487 road fatalities, with 69% were the most vulnerable groups of road users: pedestrians, motorcyclists, and children.
And to create further context for the need for these clubs, with less than 3 months into the year,
a 12-year-old boy died on the nation's road. As a result, he died as a result of injuries he sustained when he was hit by a motorist along the roadway in his community. Of Lilliput in St. James. He was crossing the road and didn't make it home.
And as government seeks to do its part to protect children using the roadways.
And now that we have returned to full face-to-face teaching and learning in our schools, we will begin to see the impact of this project. I expect that this valuable initiative that has been undertaken by JSIP will continue to have a life-saving effect on residents of the beneficiary communities for years to come. Learning to be safe on the roads is a lifelong process.
We urge you to do your part to drive, ride, and walk with care while looking out for the nation's children.
This mayhem can only be stopped through behavioral change and discipline. We have a duty to our children to preserve them on the roads, at school, in our homes. This especially as we adjust to the return of full face-to-face classes.
We have just over a minute left, but there's always time for a few tips. So for those of you starting a new school term, rest, try getting enough sleep, get involved, participate in class and extracurricular activities, and challenge yourself and expand your abilities. Ask for clarity on the things you don't understand. We sometimes sit and do not ask in fear of embarrassment. But if you don't understand, how can you do well? And finally, have fun. School is also about making friends and maintaining these relationships. So commit to having fun and safe experiences with your peers. That's it for the tips, and that's it for Jamaica Magazine. For more, visit our website, jis.gov.jm. The production team wishes you well in your pursuit for excellence. Until next time, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Be safe and be well.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.